PewDiePie is no stranger to controversy, but unlike many on YouTube, almost all of them have come from the mainstream media or external sources, rather than his own fans or the YouTube community. It's hard to imagine a non-cancelable YouTuber, but PewDiePie comes pretty close. Every time he's had a hit piece written on him, the YouTube community has rushed to his defense, not just because these controversies are usually made up rubbish, but because PewDiePie is a hero to the YouTube community and they love to defend him. So the times where PewDiePie has been attacked or criticized by his own audience is rare, but each provides an interesting insight to just what can lead to perhaps the most loyal fanbase on YouTube turning against their favorite creator. This is PewDiePie versus audience.
There's a new app called Nimsys, where if you download it, your life will become a social media game.
But Nimsys needs your activity, because they need your data. That's how they make money.
And then you're spreading misinformation to make it look like I'm promoting a scam. I'm donating $50,000 to Anti-Defamation League, which is an organization that fights bigotry and prejudice in all its forms.
He was wearing a jacket with the iron fucking cross on its collar.
Just hit the report button.
If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe. If you don't want to be bothered by notifications, you don't have to click the bell. While advertisers are routinely criticized by the media for advertising on controversial creators' channels, it's rarer for YouTubers to be criticized for endorsing a shady sponsor, despite the fact that sponsoring someone, unlike an ad appearing on a video, is a direct endorsement of that product. The BetterHelp controversy is one of the only real major examples of creators getting backlash from sponsoring something, where YouTubers such as Philip DeFranco, Shane Dawson, HDHD Productions and others promoted a website which offered mental health advice with quote-unquote professionals, but really scammed people for money. PewDiePie has mostly kept to safer sponsors, promoting well-known uncontroversial products such as NordVPN, but he has been criticized for his ties with DLive, a streaming service which originally many feared to be a crypto scam, but since then has become moderately popular in some corners of the web. PewDiePie's own fanbase, however, hasn't really criticized him for what he promotes before, as most viewers of the video don't really pay attention to, or just skip segments of the video dedicated to sponsors. That is, apart from Nimsys. Nimsys is an innovative, new social media app that introduces a revolutionary system of monetizing interactions. Or at least, that's what they want you to think. Nimsys is a Ukrainian scam site that uses essentially a pyramid scheme to entice people into giving the app their money, and without the user's knowledge, their private information. The app supposedly rewards users with a virtual currency if you spend time on the app. While the app claims it's the first with the idea, it's been done before. The difference between it and other apps, however, is how much it wants to steal your data. Nimsys broadcasts your location, life, and everything about what you're doing to the company servers at all times. You can't opt out. It's clear about how invasive it is, even in its TOS. Most of the over 40 cookies on the app are built for tracking analytics for targeted advertising. That's the model for their business. We steal your data for loads of money, and you get a tiny bit of our cryptocurrency in return. Talking about the crypto, the NIM currency is essentially controlled by the Nimsys Corporation, and there is no market backing. It's worthless, or decided by whatever the company thinks, which means it's worthless. While Nimsys promises when everyone uses Nimsys there will be market demand, that's simply not how currency works. If more people use Nimsys, then more NIMs would be generated because more people are on the site. Therefore, because there's no limit on how many NIMs can exist, the value of a NIM goes down via inflation. The more people use Nimsys, the less money you make. Nimsys can also track you after you delete the app, not through the app itself, but from the data it's already collected which it keeps. For example, the information it gathers about your social media profiles or other apps on your phone is kept, and they keep tracking you through these after the app is gone. This is called shadow profiling. You give Nimsys all your permissions, camera, microphone, contacts, all possible location data, and you don't even know it. Nimsys is a scam app that steals your data, so people called him out over this, especially on Reddit, where it appeared in a Lawai episode for Felix to address. Felix's response was pretty terrible. He dismissed the privacy concerns as stuff every app does. While most apps nowadays don't care about privacy, Nimsys goes a step further to invade your privacy. The only popular app that does similar is probably Facebook. PewDiePie acts all condescending towards people caring about privacy and calls easily verifiable stuff that is in the terms and conditions misinformation.
What? A social media network wants to use my camera? Huh? What, do they want to look at me? Like, come on, guys. Listen. They're not paying me to defend these allegations, but you're just going off rumors. If you're worried about your privacy, by all means, don't sign up to a social media network. Everyone seems so protective of me. My fans are always so like, oh, we need to protect them from all the media stuff. And then you're spreading misinformation to make it look like I'm promoting a scam.
Comparing people who are generally concerned about this app with a good reason to the Wall Street Journal who got your show cancelled over a joke is wrong in every way. This controversy didn't get much attention, probably because it stayed in PewDiePie's community. But this is one of the rare times in which PewDiePie is clearly in the wrong and didn't take responsibility. PewDiePie certainly has a history of accusations of racism and anti-Semitism. Examples include him trying to see if guys on Fiverr will say something offensive for $5, him saying the N-word while he was angry in a video game, him shouting out an anime review in a video where he shouted out 50 channels, but it turns out the channel that made the anime review said some controversial stuff before. You're not the best evidence he's racist, but media articles love to run with it and claim the most outlandish stuff about him. Perhaps for clicks, perhaps out of jealousy, who knows? But they keep trying to label him as a bigot, even in articles about something positive he did. There's always a paragraph talking about the time he said the N-word or something. While PewDiePie didn't give in like other YouTubers have done, in fact especially in 2017, he fought hard back at the Wall Street Journal. It would get tiring after a while. This is why he decided to donate $50,000 to the Anti-Defamation League in his 100 million subscriber special video, an organization that claims to be dedicated to fighting anti-Semitism, racism, and bigotry. Felix likely thought that this donation would help fight back on the media-generated image of him as some offensive bigot. He's donating to such an anti-racist cause, how can he be racist? PewDiePie didn't even pick the ADL as the charity he was going to donate to. The organization which sponsored the video chose it for him. He just went along with it.
I made the mistake of picking a charity that I was advised instead of picking a charity that I'm personally passionate about.
So this charity, the Anti-Defamation League, I'm sure it's a perfectly good charity that hasn't been embroiled in controversy. The ADL was founded in 1913 by Sigmund Livingston to combat anti-Semitism, but the organization has expanded in scope since then, aggressively promoting Zionism in the interests of the State of Israel, as well as in recent years being heavily anti-Trump. The ADL rarely actually combats anti-Semitism, it acts more as an arm of the Israeli government. After a man named Leo Frank was convicted and sentenced to death for the rape and murder of a 13-year-old girl, the governor of Georgia, who had major conflicts of interest with Frank's defense counsel, commuted his sentence to life imprisonment. The public, being understandably outraged, lynched Frank. While lynching is obviously bad and the prosecution should have appealed the decision to a higher court, the governor had a clear conflict of interest and Frank was a rapist, murderer, pedophile. The Anti-Defamation League was actually founded to rehabilitate Leo Frank's image, smearing anyone who spoke negatively of him as an anti-Semite and successfully getting him posthumously pardoned. In the 1950s, the ADL collaborated with the McCarthyist House Un-American Activities Committee to go on witch hunts against trade unionists, civil rights activists such as MLK, Hollywood leftists, and anyone they claimed was a socialist. The ADL has continued until very recently to deny the Armenian genocide and has fired people in the organization who tried to get it recognized. In 1993, it was uncovered to suspiciously no media attention that the Anti-Defamation League had been funding and organizing an illegal private intelligence and spying network, funneling the information to the Israel Intelligence Agency, Mossad, and the apartheid-era South African government, a close ally of Israel at the time. Tens of thousands were spied on using information obtained from sources such as confidential records from law enforcement agencies across the country, suggesting that individual police officers went above superiors to provide information to the ADL. And who are these people spied on? Surely those who deserved it, such as Nazis or white supremacists. It turns out that among those spied on were anti-South African apartheid activists, Greenpeace, Arab American organizations, the American Civil Liberties Union, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, a multitude of pro-African American organizations, members of Congress, and people critical of the Israeli government. After ADL officers were raided and the person in the center of the controversy fled to the Philippines and later returned to the US claiming he was a CIA agent and got arrested, the media barely spoke about the story. Perhaps part of this reason is the ADL's blacklist of journalists, organizations, and entities critical of itself and to Israel. These blacklists, which the ADL publicly publishes, effectively pressures members of the media to stop working with people on it, label it as anti-Semitic or racist. But what does the ADL consider as anti-Semitic or racist? Pepe the Frog, the OK hand symbol, the bowl haircut, and milk. Yes, literally just milk. The ADL's insane labeling of everything as racist actually matters as well, because they are now a veteran of content for YouTube, deciding what is hate speech. They're also working with Facebook, Twitter, and Microsoft to engineer solutions to stop hate. They must be getting paid pretty well for the stuff which their organization pressures them to do. Deplatforming and censorship of people who post a Pepe meme or do the OK symbol obviously conflicts with PewDiePie's anti-censorship and, at least formally, pro-edgy joke stance. The ADL has been antagonistic towards PewDiePie in the past as well. It wouldn't make sense for Felix to donate to this group, which clearly doesn't like him and doesn't stand for what he stands for. The confusion over this led to some conspiracy theories forming in the video's comment section about the ADL blackmailing PewDiePie for the money. Now, blackmail is defined as the action, treated as a criminal offense, of demanding payment or another benefit from someone in return for not revealing compromising or damaging information about them. I doubt the ADL has compromising or damaging information on PewDiePie, but I think the word the comments were looking for was extortion. It was just that PewDiePie's fans probably didn't know the difference. Extortion is defined as the practice of obtaining something especially money, through force or threats. And I think this is what many people assumed had happened. Not direct extortion, but PewDiePie feeling as though if he were to donate to the ADL, then it would help stop some of the media's slander. While this was not true and Felix didn't know anything about the ADL, at least according to him, this theory was viewed as corroborated by the comments being deleted from the video. You see, once people started saying PewDiePie was being blackmailed, thousands of people started commenting on the video he's being blackmailed by the ADL, or variants. YouTube's automatic spam filter probably noticed this and started removing a lot of these very similar comments. All of the top comments were posted at the earliest a couple hours ago. This looked bad for Felix as people assumed he was deleting comments to stop people from mentioning the blackmail stuff. It was also strange for many people that what was supposed to be a special monumental video for such a milestone had half of the video taken up by an ad. This, along with many people noticing Felix seemed a bit off in the video and there was minimal editing or humor, furthered the rumor. So people went to Twitter, PewDiePie's Reddit, YouTube videos and other platforms to inform people. This became a huge thing. Some people claimed PewDiePie was being extorted, many people were just upset at PewDiePie for donating to a bad organization. Things were a mess. PewDiePie ended up retracting the donation in a subsequent video, saying he didn't research into the organization, his sponsor told him to donate to it, and he doesn't think it was right. This satisfied most people. Felix donated to a bad company, then once he found out he was bad, he retracted it. Well, it turns out the media spun it to make him look racist again. Hundreds of articles came out with clearly misleading titles. Even a normally reputable news corporation like the BBC had the headline, "PewDiePie cancels 50,000 donation to anti-hate group, I messed up," to make it sound like he's pro-hate. Online leftists such as Clinton Reviews and Vouch similarly made this out like PewDiePie was being racist. By far the stupidest thing to come of this controversy, however, was that PewDiePie was signaling his support for Nazis by having this symbol on a shirt that looks sort of like the Iron Cross.
They're very happy, you see, because PewDiePie actually stopped. He withdrew his pledge to give the $50,000 to the ADL. Let's see what this wise representative of the Aryan race has to say. Pewd started that conversation on purpose. There was never any intention to give money to these kikes. PewDiePie will never cuck. PewDiePie will never betray the people. PewDiePie will destroy the kikes. PewDiePie is the holy savior of the internet. Check the cross on the collar, kikes. This is a clever reference to the fact that when PewDiePie said he was going to not give that money to the ADL, he was wearing a jacket
with the iron fucking cross on its collar.
In fact, this was the Bolsini cross, a national symbol of Georgia that appears on the nation's flag. PewDiePie wore it because fashion is a hobby of his, and it's made by a Georgian designer whose clothing he has worn in past videos. And the Iron Cross isn't even a Nazi symbol. A variant is literally the logo of the modern German armed forces. Since it was first created in late 2017 with the start of Felix's Lawai series, r/PewDiePie submissions has become both PewDiePie's primary way of communicating with fans and the place where the majority of discussion in his audience occurs. Most of the posts are pretty normie memes that have very little to do with PewDiePie's content itself, apart from perhaps a reference to a community inside joke in the title, but requests for Felix, usually in the form of a Lisa presentation meme or simple messages for fans, are often posted. In the midst of the blackmail theory, the subreddit was filled to the brim with posts warning everyone that Felix was being blackmailed by the ADL. Most people probably didn't even know what the ADL was, they just saw comments from the video. However, soon, all the posts suddenly started to be removed. This was the doing of Sloth on Meth, the moderator of the PewDiePie submission subreddit. He's a very shady character and we'll look more into his history soon, but first, why did he delete all these posts? Well, Sloth on Meth made a post which he's sticking to the top of the subreddit, where he addresses the drama. He starts off by defending the ADL, okay. Then he blamed all the posts about the ADL on 4chan making alt accounts. Really? We're going with the 4chan the hacker narrative? I'm always very suspicious of anyone who blames anything on 4chan raids, but let's see the evidence he provided. Most of these posts aren't encouraging raiding the subreddit, they're just linking posts about the ADL to upvote. These are likely PewDiePie fans. I don't see why a linking post they like on 4chan is somehow nefarious. And there are like 2 posts asking people to make alt accounts to spam ADL bad. There's no proof of anything. There are a lot of posts about this on the PewDiePie subreddit, way more than a couple 4chan posts can make. Blaming them all on 4chan alt accounts seems like an excuse to delete comments and posts critical of the ADL. So who is Sloth on Meth? He's what is known as a power mod. A power mod moderates many different large subreddits, often spending their entire day moderating Reddit. In Sloth on Meth's case, he mods 108, yes, 108 subreddits. These include some of the largest subreddits on the site, such as Out of the Loop, Political Humor, Funny, a default sub, Dank Memes, and Battlefield. Talking about Battlefield, Sloth on Meth got into controversy on that sub a few years ago. When gamers criticized Battlefield 5 for what they believed to be the game not being historically accurate enough, and media outlets fired back with accusations of sexism, Sloth on Meth immediately banned all discussion around historical accuracy, essentially shutting down one side of the argument on one of, if not the largest forum of the game. On r/Dank Memes, Sloth on Meth banned the B emoji to despite a subreddit poll resulting in most users wanting to keep the emoji. The post announcing the ban was heavily downvoted. Wherever Sloth and Meth goes, controversy follows. He is one of the most hated users on the site, almost no one likes him. So why did PewDiePie appoint him as a moderator for r/PewDiePie submissions then? The simple answer is, he didn't.
Well, what is this? How did we get mods in this subreddit? I did not mod anyone. Feel free to post whatever you want, okay? There's no rules on the PewDiePie subreddit. Make sure you post your memes down in below.
Reddit has a policy where if a sub doesn't have any mods or the moderation is not up to their standards, an experienced moderator, so a power mod, can request to be installed as a mod by the site admins. This is a controversial policy as numerous times this policy has been abused to ruin subreddits with not much rules by implementing extremely censor-happy power mods. As PewDiePie didn't add any mods to the Reddit, Sloth and Meth applied for it and was installed as a moderator without PewDiePie's knowledge. So Sloth and Meth is a bad moderator who hijacks subreddits, but that doesn't explain why he would want to defend the ADL and ban anyone from criticizing it. Well, it soon becomes obvious once you look into his history more. Sloth and Meth is an active user and poster on r/against-hate subreddit, a subreddit dedicated to getting subs they deem as hateful banned. Targets of HS include meme subs, vaguely edgy subs, and ironically, anti-censorship subs. HS has been accused many times of raiding subreddits they don't like with CP, although I haven't found any proof yet. Against Hate subreddits is often regarded as one of the worst subreddits. Most power mods are active users on there, the subreddit has tremendous influence over admin decisions, and it somehow evades getting banned despite raiding subs being against Reddit TOS. So with how much Sloth and Meth loves censorship, it's obvious he would like the ADL and have no problems with removing anyone who says anything bad about it or criticizes him, which he did. I'm not even going to get into Sloth liking to ban any post he personally doesn't find funny, or the CP allegations surrounding him. Yes, you heard me. You can look that up for yourself. But none of this was PewDiePie's fault. He made a mistake in not researching his donation, yes, but he fixed that mess up and handled the situation well, as he usually does. The person who messed up the Reddit was a moderator who wasn't even chosen by him. The truth is, if these are the only times PewDiePie's fanbase has turned on him, that's not much at all, especially for such a massive YouTuber with a history of edginess and changing content and audiences. PewDiePie is a case study of how to handle fame, how to handle YouTube success. With these two circumstances in particular, despite the second being a bigger story, he probably handled the first one more poorly, not taking accountability, but even that isn't too bad. PewDiePie is one of the most beloved creators on the site, and with that comes respect. Respect which he deserves. Make sure to subscribe. See ya.